Hello and welcome. This is Grant Hughes of Grant Hughes Investigates on YouTube. This channel evaluates all aspects of true crime. As you are aware, videos and live streams in this genre often discuss elements of crime that may be disturbing to some viewers. If necessary, take the precautions needed to avoid these feelings. Factual information related to cases is the key to fostering rational true crime discussions. Fortunately, you will find that here. Please hit the like button only once, share the video, and subscribe if you like my content. Thank you very much for watching.
Stupid is being nice. You're an absolute moron.
That stupid audio file doesn't work. Oh well. Hey, what's going on? Free! There's Benny and Clancy. I forgot his name for a minute. Alright, how's everybody doing? Thought we would discuss tonight what was it? I mean, I don't know, like a year ago or so or longer, I always thought that, I didn't always, you kind of think different things, but I thought that it was a good chance that Koberger went into the house to kill all 4 of the girls that were in there. But as time goes by, I changed my mind, and after being there and driving around, I sort of came to the conclusion that he was basically stalking Madison Mogen, because that's the window you're looking in. Even if you parked far over on the left-hand side, you have an angle into Kaylee's room, just based on the way it's set up. I mean, it's just, it's a direct sight right into Madison's room. And I don't know, he wouldn't have known that, I guess, until he drove out there. But I think that was his target. And I think because that's why I started thinking about the knife sheath. Because I think once it's like an individual target, I think he was going to leave. I think it's, reasonable to believe that he left the knife sheath there as a calling card. And even after the situation, so if Madison Mogen's the target, then it's not very likely that he attacked Xana and Ethan first, because he would just turn around and leave at that point. He'd be like, oh yeah, because I wasn't really his target. And he would have nothing to gain, I mean, you could sort of look at it like he went in there to kill Madison. He goes upstairs, sneaks into her room, and he was okay doing it even if the DoorDash was there, because he knew that was in the front of the house. So he goes upstairs, and when he opens up Madison's room, he's shocked to see that Kaylee's there too. And maybe he started stabbing Madison, and Kaylee woke up, and then it turned into a little bit more than he wanted, and it made too much noise in the house. Then when he was leaving, he was actually leaving at that point, and he still leaves the knife sheath there as a calling card, because it's like, okay, that's what he was doing. And he leaves it there as a calling card, and he goes down the stairs, and he's leaving now. He's actually heading out of the house. But then that's when there was an encounter with Xana where she literally sees him and says, hey, somebody's here, and that's what led to the, like him now choosing her, and then, Ethan's also a collateral damage piece. Like, they weren't even supposed to be, he was going to sneak in and kill up on that 3rd floor. I don't care what you agree with, Gina. Let's see. Because of the DoorDash, that would have told him someone was awake, and no, that's just complete garbage, Gina. I'm just letting you know, but you can say whatever you want. It's just not accurate. Let's see. Hey, thanks, Kami. And by the way, moderators, let the people can say whatever they want, and I'd rather have you guys, unless they're a patrol cutting down the channel, you guys should just let them say whatever the hell they want to say, and be, sort of ambassadors. I mean, I'm the one that's kind of a jackass at times, and so let me be that person. You guys are the counter to me, all right? So let me answer questions if they're asked to me in the comment sections of videos. Hey, Gray, what do you think? I don't need the other people, moderators, or anybody answering the question. If I don't see it, I don't see it. But I don't need give me a minute to answer the damn thing. Hey, thanks, Von Dazen. BK only took that shower selfie to show YouTubers what the like button looks like and to click it. Or else, yeah, hit that like button. I'm never going to visit Cape Town, South Africa. Yeah. Happy to catch my first live. Hey, thanks. Galaxies. Hello, Karen. Click it only once. Yeah. Yeah, only hit the like button one time. That'd be good. Let's see. Regardless, BK going in knew there was a possibility. Yeah, he wouldn't have stopped because there was somebody going to the front door. He already knew that the people, the person he chose, they went to sleep. The light turned off, they were up there. And then I think he was just sort of making sure, and he goes back around again. He probably took a little time, and the blood spatter mitigation, but maybe some of that time was watching the room to see if the lights were on again. He goes, nope, they're not. And then he went into the house, and he went up there to just kill Madison Mogen. And Kaylee just happened to be there, and she became a victim. Then on the way out, likely encountered Xana somehow, or heard a voice and was nervous that they saw him or something. And then he ends up killing Xana and Ethan, and now there's a lot of noise, a dog, maybe a dog barking, etc. Now he's getting the hell out of there quick. He thought he cleaned it. I don't think it's risky. Well, it turned out to be risky, but he thought he cleaned it, right? There was only one single source of DNA on the button snap of that K-bar knife sheath, so you kind of picture him cleaning it really well. But hey guys, we're doing another show tonight, so if you guys are out there and you have the ability to help support the channel, hell, we did better on the video today. So if you guys have the ability to help support the channel, I would appreciate it. So I don't have to ask 1,700 times again. Just support the channel throughout the show and show the support for the work that I do, etc., because that's the only way that at the end of the month we're still able to keep doing all the stuff we do, like our scholarship fund. We've given $6,000 out 2 years in a row now. We have a DNA fund that has over $100,000 that we've spent on identifying Jane and John Does, Texas Equisearch, etc. Rain, Micmac. We send money to all those people every month, generally. Hey, thanks. What is that, 12? 12 gauge investigate. Okay. Hello everyone, happy Sunday. Serial killer. So either leave something or take something. Any killer, not just a serial killer. Yeah. That's just that's not the quote. Every killer takes something from the scene and leaves something at the scene. Let's see. Is there video of him coming back in the morning? I don't know if they have him on camera. I think there might be one down the highway, like up on, what was it, Highway 95 over here? Up here somewhere. I can't remember exactly, but it was spotted coming down south right around in this area at 9 in the morning. I think it was maybe the same camera right here, just coming south like that. Yeah, just trying to see if this is the one. No. How do we not have vids of license plate from highway camera? I don't know. I don't know 600 double RR. I don't. Why ask questions like that? I mean, I get what you're saying. Like, oh, I want to know the answer. We have everything we need currently. Brian Koberger is 100% the killer. It's really obvious. Did he give the time to account the vehicle in front of the house? He just drove away, and then when he came back in, I think he drove away. Well, the thing is, if the DoorDash was dropped off right at 3:59, then he would have passed the DoorDash as he was leaving. If the DoorDash is at 3:59 and 47 seconds, matching the key fob sound, then it likely means that the like he would have already just left and turned and gone on a bit on Walanta Drive when the vehicle was coming down Taylor Avenue and about to turn onto King Road. So, you know, then while driving, he could see that there's a light on, you know, like a vehicle there. And then on the way back down, he could see that. So then he wouldn't want to go into the complex because he thinks, you know, that person might actually see him. So then he drives by. And then when he loops back around again, he can see that the car is gone. And then he goes back around 500 Queen Road. And then he goes, let me make a double check. And then he turns around, does the 3-point turn, and then drives in front of the King Road residence and sort of looks up there again and maybe sort of sees maybe some lights on or something going on in Xana's room. But it's like, screw this. I'm going to do it anyways. Then he goes around and he parks his car back there. And then he goes inside the house through the sliding glass door, because he knows how to get upstairs to where he spent too much time that night driving around. So, are we going to get the support going tonight, you guys? I mean, unbelievable. It's so crazy. I did a live premiere today, and there was more support on that one, but on my live streams is where I need the actual support from the people watching the channel. That's how we make the goals and keep moving forward through the month. All right. So if you guys have the ability to, that would be great. Thank you. I mean, when we do these shows, when you're watching anybody's channel, if you feel like they do a good job, you should be supporting those people. Okay. We do hours and hours and hours on these shows, and you know, it's we need to support. We don't have big corporation, you know, sending in ad revenue, etc. If we make $8 of ad revenue on a live stream, that's great. So basically, it comes down to you guys. All right. I hate always having to keep repeating the same thing. If you guys would just realize it on the shows and try to help support the channel, that'd be great. All right. So I'm going to move now to, like, there's some articles that were out there for a long time. since like a CBS article here. Let's see, this one. Hey, look at that. Sherry C, 2 months. All right. Very cool. All right. So anyways, we go right here. Among the, thanks Melanie Tone and Allie Cake. So I got that one. Thanks for the coverage, and thanks Gray, etc. And then Don Lawson became a member. So we have right here. Among the never-ending questions surrounding the November 2022 murders of University of Idaho student Kaylee Gonzalez, Madison Mogen, Santa Cernodal, and Ethan Chapin was, did they know their killer? In an affidavit outlining the case, investigators say DNA, cell phone records, and surveillance camera evidence linked the accused murderer, Brian Koberger, to the crime, but his defense attorneys say in a court filing that there is no connection between Mr. Koberger and the victims. Criminologist and CBS News consultant Brianna Fox adds that the defense is claiming that the defendant, Brian Koberger, and the victims have absolutely no connection. There's no motive. There's no reason for this crime to take place. Right? Well, that's what serial killers are all about. Every time they kill somebody, you go, why'd this happen? So essentially, it's raising additional doubt in jurors' minds. But Kaylee's parents, Steve and Christy, believe they have proof of a connection. In the minutes after learning Koberger's name, Christy Gonzalez says, we went online and immediately started Googling. Steve Gonzalez adds he was a PhD student at Washington State. They told us. We're like, PhD? What the heck is going on? Who? Steve and Christy Gonzalez talked with 48 Hours correspondent Peter Van Sant for the night of the Idaho student murders, streaming now on I just watched part of it. It's 48 Hours special episode. And then Maddie Mogen, and then you see the names right here, but right below it, it says, the Gonzalez family provided 48 Hours with screenshots of an Instagram account they believe belonged to Brian Koberger. Those screenshots included what they say is Koberger's Instagram profile and a list of people he was following, including Maddie Mogen and Kaylee Gonzalez. So that means Koberger was actually following, and it seems like it's the right account because it was, it was actually following other family members of him. Hey, thank you, 600 double RR. Also, I've been watching your videos on this case since day one. Hope your videos help put this weirdo away. Thank you for your hard work. Hey, no problem. That was 600 double RR and Ashley Yeager, and I think Lisa Valenzuela sent a coffee in a minute ago. In the interview with Van Sant, the Gonzalez family provided screenshots of an Instagram account they believed belonged to Koberger. Those screenshots include what they say is Koberger's Instagram profile and a list of people he was following, including Maddie Mogen and Kaylee Gonzalez. 48 Hours was not able to confirm the authenticity of that account because it was deleted. Christy Gonzalez says when they attempted to cross-reference the accounts of Kaylee and Maddie, Xana and Ethan, it appeared that the Koberger account had interacted with Maddie's Instagram. See, that's another piece of information right there that sort of points to Maddie being the target. You would go to Maddie's Instagram account and look at her pictures, and he liked them, Christy said. He had liked them. Hey, thanks, Cheryl Moran. Says, hello, freaks. He had liked them. Brian's name was under a lot of Maddie's pictures. So, like Maddie would post pictures, and underneath them, Koberger was liking them. He liked her pictures, liked that picture, and that picture, and that picture, and that picture. So he was actively looking at the Instagram account. The Gonzalez say the account is no longer active. It appeared shortly after Koberger's arrest on the same day as a celebration of life. Well, when you say it appeared, you mean it was there when you looked, or it just popped up? Because that would mean it was, yeah, somebody probably made it. But if it was fake, why would you go out of your way to like family members? Hey, thanks, Paulette Leonard. By the time we got home from the celebration of life, it was gone. The Instagram account was gone. Koberger's trial has been... Remember when people thought that like Koberger was at some of these... They had this guy walking around. They said it was him. Hey, thank you so much, Naomi Rollins. Well, she just became that. Yeah, welcome... Cheryl Moran as moderator. She's always really nice to everybody, too. You guys have to make up for my shortcomings. Okay. Thanks, Naomi Rollins. Let's see. By the time we got home from the celebration of life, it was gone. Koberger's trial has been set for June 2025. Now it's August. A judge entered not guilty plea on Koberger's behalf. So this is from June 30th, 2024. The clip would be, let's see. I have the clip here.
Took these screenshots.
I mean, also, how do you get that many followers that quick? I mean, I don't even know. I guess they would have followed him right after his name, but this person only made one post, so I don't know.
From our
I guess once his name got out there, everybody started following. It's interesting, right? Why would a fake account even think of or take the time to go like family members, like his own family members? And I mean, the date on the like, I'm sure there's a date in the system somewhere of when somebody liked something. I think that would be huge information. Like if he liked June of 2022, that's way bigger. And obviously any time after the killing would probably be, maybe that, and after his name was out would probably be a fake.
He was actively...
Had some type...
I don't play other people's YouTube videos, so if you're trying to send me a YouTube video, I don't play them, nor do I watch them. So when I do my show, the only time I watch YouTubers is when there's people putting out false stuff intentionally, and they go, "Hey, Gray, have you seen this idiot?" And then I'll go watch it for a little bit and go, "Oh, Jesus, look at that." I don't watch other people's YouTube channels to get ideas or thoughts or anything like that. So anything that you see on this show is something that I thought of while doing my shows, okay? Or, from interacting with people in the shows. They're just my own. I don't want to, like if you listen to some other YouTube channel's theories, then you're never sure if your theory came to you. Like you're basically parroting maybe what they think. And people do that to me all the time. They literally watch my show and then they go over and pretend and make a video like they thought of something. And, it's really disturbing. I don't know how people actually sleep at night doing that kind of stuff. Right. Let's see. Anyways, let's keep. There's not much more
Of connection with the victims.
He just told us the name, and we immediately started Googling.
Yeah. So, where was that? Right down here. I think that was the end of that one. And then I put the link into where you can watch the 48 hours if you haven't seen it. It's pretty interesting. Talks about sequencing, like who was first, etc. And it made sense. It's all stuff that we've said. Like I have just multiple theories on like who was first, and I've thought that it's Xana, and I thought it was the Madison and Kaylee upstairs, etc. But I think more lately I've been thinking, just recently, I made a video on how Xana and Ethan were first, but I could see how Madison and Kaylee were first, just because that seems the most logical, right? I mean, you come into the house, that's what your goal is. And if somebody said, hey, there's somebody here, I don't know if he would kill the first people before killing anybody. You know, he had already killed Madison and Kaylee, so needed to kill Xana and Ethan at that point because, like, she's a witness. But if he never even made it upstairs and Xana said, hey, there's somebody here, he wouldn't have done anything. He just would have taken off. Ah, jeez. See, that's where I don't mind the mods. What do you mean they were asking for it? What do you mean by that, Zerper77? What does that mean, they were asking? Hey, thanks, Courtney D. Very kind, very kind. Yeah, what does that mean? Go ahead. What does that mean up there, Zerper? What do you mean? What does copycat wannabe mean? I don't know what that means. Do you still think Madison was... Yeah, I do. No, I've never thought Kaylee was the target. That's never even been a thing. I know that there were statements made by Steve where it seemed like that, but he said that he didn't have to go upstairs. That doesn't mean he's talking about his daughter. Going upstairs was where they wanted to go. Allie Cake gifted a membership. All right. Well, thank you. I'm glad you liked the channel. If the like dates are before his arrest, right, exactly. That's what I said a minute ago. Yeah. Thanks for repeating it. Let's see, I always thought that Maddie and Kaylee were killed first, since the knife sheath was, yeah, well, the knife sheath being found there has no relevance on whether or not they were attacked first or not. Yeah, I remember people saying that at the beginning. It doesn't have any relevance on that. Yeah. You could have lost it at anybody he was fighting with. But I think it's a good chance that the knife sheath is a calling card, and it wasn't accidental. He just didn't realize that he'd left a little bit of DNA on the button snap. He didn't realize it. Because I actually think that killing was going to be the first in his legacy killings. Like she was going to be first, and then he was going to keep going, and he thought he just had it all figured out because, you know, he knows how to not leave blood, evidence in his vehicle, etc. The only thing forensically, in terms of at the house that we're aware of, is the little bit of DNA left on the knife sheath that he left there. Yeah, that's what I always say. He'd be called Koberger the K-Bar Killer. Right, I said that at the beginning of this show even. Now we hear Xana may have been horrible, brutal too. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that people say. Never mind what. Yeah, he just isn't gonna, I mean, he only went there to kill one person, and all the rest of them are collateral damage because they just happen to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. I mean, just look at it like this. Just kind of, you know, almost like close your eyes and picture he goes into that sliding glass door, just like my video. Then he goes upstairs. He doesn't go into Kaylee's room or anything. He just takes a right at the top of the stairs. And he goes directly into Madison's room. And then he goes over to the bed. It's kind of dark, probably. The lights are off. He doesn't turn the lights on. That'd be stupid. You know, he obviously doesn't turn the lights on. He's not going to let people outside see what's going on. And then he goes over the bed, and then there's two people there. And he's like, holy, you know, and so it goes awry. But after killing both of them, You know, there's a little bit of noise there. He still, let's just say, he leaves the knife sheath there intentionally. And now he's going to go down the stairs and he's going to exit through the kitchen sliding glass door. However, when he goes down the stairs, it could be that, see, that would probably be, on my video, the one I put out even today and the one yesterday, it's about 4:13. I mean, look how crazy this is. It's about 4:13 when he's done killing Madison and Kaylee. And isn't that almost exactly the same time that she quits using Xana, quits using TikTok? And maybe that's about the time where she goes to the kitchen to drop off the food that she got at 4 o'clock. And then as she's coming back to the room, she looks up to the landing area in the middle, and there is Kohberger. And she goes, "Hey, somebody's here." And then starts heading back to her room, and then he comes bolting over there. And, I mean, who knows what she did? Maybe she ran into the bathroom to hide, and he goes into the room and kills Ethan, and then when she kind of peeks her head out or something, he goes, "Hey, it's okay, I'm here to help." Then he kills her, you know, something like that. I mean, I don't know. The only problem I always have is, "It's okay, I'm here to help you." That sentence indicates to me that somebody has already been injured and now, but left for a bit. The killer leaves for a bit, then comes back to say that. But I guess you could say it in an instance where if Kohberger, for example, was killing, you know, stabbing Ethan, and then he's all bloody, and then when Xana, she's somewhere else for a moment or something, then comes in, he's not stabbing anymore because Ethan's dead, and he just says, "Hey, it's okay, I'm just here to help." Like he's already on the scene, you know, and then he attacks Xana. But the thing is there's also the whimpering sound, then a thud, so I don't, you know, there's stuff that you kind of have to make sense of. Say no to lulls, everybody. Say no to lulls. If you're out there and you guys have the ability to help support the Grant Hughes Investigates YouTube channel, my channel relies on the generosity during the live streams of the people watching. So if you like my work, etc., then consider, you know, buying me a coffee, or, you know, sending a super chat, or whatever the hell you feel like doing. And let's see. It's so hard to understand that Bill Mortensen can hear someone say, "I'm here to help you." Yeah, well, my understanding when I've explained it before is this. He comes in the house, and as he's coming down, like at 4:10, he's about to go into the house, and Xana is in the kitchen and looks up kind of outside and goes, "Hey, there's somebody here," and then heads back to the room, and he chases Xana first and ends up thinking he killed both of Xana and Ethan first. Then he goes upstairs and kills Madison and Kaylee, and then on the way back down to leave, he hears Xana whining, you know, or whimpering, I guess is the sound, whimpering, and then he sees her again, almost like maybe she's standing up trying to get out of the house, in the room though, and then says, "Hey, it's okay, I'm here to help you," and then attacks her a second time, and then she collapses to the ground, and you know, you hear the thud. Yeah, it will be pretty interesting. But I do think Madison Mogen, see, well, I guess once you say, "Hey, Madison Mogen's the target," then, you know, he drives around all those different times that we already have. Man, it's never a good feeling when you have 600 people watching and you go, "Hey, everybody, if you're out there and you can support the channel, that'd be great," and the 0 people respond to it. That's a feeling that doesn't feel good. It's really, that's why I don't want to have to ask, because it's just such a crappy feeling. Hey, thanks, Alley Kick up there. And look at that, 33 months for H-Doc. Very cool. Yeah, so right here, you know, after the vehicle comes around the last time it parks, and then it would just go right down and then up into the kitchen and then up the stairs. You know? Let's see. I'm going to see if I can open up my... See, I always have this one handy. It's good. But I also want to open up the other one. I have to try to go find it. Where the hell is it? Let's see. Underneath, working on... Let's see. I think it's in this Idaho now. God, you know, sometimes it's hard to remember where you put stuff. There it is, 3D panoramic, second one. Okay, I think I found it. There we go. Yes, this is kind of how I have it in Xana's room. Like, that's Ethan over there, and Xana maybe on the ground somewhere in this area. Thanks, M10. Apparently you were the only one that heard what I said. Excellent video today. I'm not sure who I think the target was, but here to learn. Yeah, well, I think it's obvious. I mean, to me, it's really clear that it's Madison Mogen. All right. And especially given the information that the Gonzalez's have, where he went to Madison's Instagram and was liking her pictures. They didn't mention that they liked Kaylee. He liked Kaylee's pictures. Thanks, Jim Lawn. 1.21 gigawatts. No, it should have been destroyed a long time ago. I think the house should have been destroyed. I think it should have been destroyed quicker. They already got all the pictures they need. They got all the 3D scans. You know, I mean, how long? What do you leave the house up for 5 years? And then if there's an appeal, you leave it up then too? It's a joke, okay? Just, it's okay. We've tried, crimes have been like this for years. They don't, like, when somebody gets killed in a town, in a downtown area, they don't, like, cordon off the area for the next 4 years while we wait for a, you know, the trial to happen. It just doesn't happen. You just, photographs and models and all that stuff make it really clear. You don't have to be in there to, I mean, by the way, when you're looking at these animations and stuff that I have, isn't it really pretty clear, like, what it would be like? You know, a little darker than that in there, etc. But this is what it looks like. I mean, it just feels like you just have to see some stuff like this and you would get it. Photographs, everything. They have complete furrow scans inside the house. I don't know what that means, Julia. What in the hell does that even mean? Are you just advertising for something? Anybody know what that means? What looks like a vacuum piece? Yeah, I think people have spent way too much time trying to figure out what Madison, or not, what Dylan Mortensen thought she saw. We have no idea. I mean, hey, it looked like he was holding a vacuum. Okay. I mean, we could all walk around on Amazon and try to find different items, and I don't know. I don't know what possible way we could figure out what he was holding. Let's see, 10 months. All right. Here, I'll look it up though, since you typed it in. This thing right here, portable outdoor felt tableware bag. What was he doing with that? Come on. Thanks, DM, for 10 months. Yeah, what we try to do on my channel is, you sort of narrowly focus on things that matter. When people say, why didn't Dylan call 911? And then you ask them, do you think Dylan had anything to do with it? They go, no, I don't. I just want to know. Then you don't need to know the answer. It doesn't help anything. It doesn't affect the case at all. Nobody would have lived, by the way, if they'd called 911. It's just one of those things that you don't need to know the answer to, but you want to know the answer to. Just, that's it. I mean, but it has no relevance on the case. And so we're never going to know what he was holding unless Kohberger says exactly what he was holding in his hand. And, while we've all wondered what that was, there's a point where you just sort of give up on it because you realize, well, we're not going to get to know. And even at trial, we will not know what he was holding in his hand. So we could spend months wondering what he was holding, but it won't move us forward in putting together the relevant information that absolutely points to Kohberger. I mean, I guess it's possible that they found an item that at the house that they found a little bit of blood from one of the victims on. It looks sort of like a vacuum, and then it'll be relevant. But at this point, we don't get to know. So, like, I guess one of the things too is like we like to focus in on things that we know the answer to. Like they have told us what something is, and it's putting all that together in a cohesive way. Thank you, Cinnamon Sin Freak. Who doesn't like that name, by the way? That's a cool one. Cinnamon Sin Freak. That will just have to wait. All right, let's look at a couple of these other things. Oh yeah, this is something that I wanted to go over again. So this was something that made me. I at one time I was wondering if the boyfriend of one of the victims had something to do with it. I didn't use his name on the show because it was these phone calls here. I mean, it's sort of interesting. Let's see. So this is interesting because it goes like this. At 2:26 a.m., Kaylee starts to call her boyfriend Jack, and I know the answer now. Jack and Kaylee were sort of separated as boyfriend girlfriend, if you will, something like that. But that night, Kaylee was drinking and called up Jack and said, "Hey, come on over," and then Jack's friend said, "Hey, don't answer. Play hard to get. Maybe then she'll come back around again," or something like that. And that might have actually saved his life, Who knows? Because if he'd gone over there, and he stayed the night, it's hard to say. Because I actually think if Kaylee had slept in her own room that night, she'd be alive. If there was a bed in there to sleep on. So anyways, at 2:26 a.m., Kaylee starts to call Jack. Olivia Gonzalez told Inside Edition, which described Jack as a young man. Kaylee calls Jack 6 times between 2:26 and 2:44 a.m. From 2:44 to 2:52 a.m., Maddie calls Jack 3 times. So Madison calls Jack, thinking, well, maybe you'll answer if I call. Calls 3 times. Then Kaylee makes a final call to Jack at 2:52 a.m. Well, it's interesting, too, because Madison Mogen, right after calling Jack at 2:52, calls Bethany Funk at 2:53. I mean, isn't that crazy? So in these documents right here, right there at 2:53, so right after Madison Mogen called Jack's boyfriend at 2:52 for Kaylee, she immediately then calls Bethany Funk, like a minute later. That's pretty, sort of, I don't know how interesting it is, but it's just sort of, I wonder if she was just going to ask Bethany Funk, hey, can you call Jack too? And here's how the conversation went. Kaylee said, he's not answering my phone. Will you try calling? Then Madison tries. Actually, it was Kaylee, sorry. Kaylee at 2:52 calls. Yeah, that's crazy. So it was Kaylee at 2:52 again. So it was like Madison tried calling all the way up until 2:52. And the conversation was probably like, Kaylee said, he's not answering my phone. Maybe you could try calling, right? And then Madison tried calling Jack, and he didn't answer that because Jack's probably thinking, oh, this is her best friend. She's just trying to have her call, right? And then after he didn't respond to Madison, then Kaylee tried one more time at 2:52, and then Kaylee thought, ooh, I wonder if I can get Bethany to call, if he might respond, because, she doesn't know us as well or something. And then so she tries to call Bethany. No, it's Madison though. So then I guess Kaylee would say, hey, Madison, call Bethany and see if she'll call. Something like that. I mean, it's kind of complicated, but so let me see if I can do it again mentally out loud. So it'd be Kaylee tries calling Jack from 2:26 to 2:44. Then she says, hey, Madison, will you try calling him? And then from 2:44 to 2:52, Maddie calls Jack. Then there's no response. Then Kaylee calls Jack a final time at 2:52. And then right after that, Kaylee probably said, hey, Madison, would you call Bethany and see if she'll call? But then we don't have those records because I guess they're not really associated. I mean, I think it would be up here if that happened, actually. Because it would have been something like Bethany Funk calls Jack, or maybe they only put stuff in here that's related to the 6 roommates. Something like that. Yeah, I don't know why people wonder so much about the screaming. People don't always scream, okay? They just don't. That's in the movies, It's just something in the movies, and everybody acts like if there's no screaming, then there's something else going on. Abby and Libby case, there's no screaming. Nobody heard any screamings, This one, nobody screamed, apparently. There's cameras that would have picked it up. It didn't happen. So I guess what you just have to say to yourself is, sometimes it's just not how it is in the movies. I bet you 50% of the people in this chat right here would not scream in a similar situation. All right, we're having one of those massive lulls again, you guys. We're only at 50% of the goal tonight. Only 2 channel members. And we've only got, what do we got? We're really low on channel members tonight. And we do have Paulette, Lisa Valenzuela, and Ted Bundy gave the coffees, okay? So that's where we're at. No camera picked up any screams. The camera picked up a whimpering sound, a thud, and a dog barking. And that's the 1112 King Road camera. Welcome, Cecilia Holmstrom. Holmstrom. 66-year-old female, and I've never screamed. Right, well, there you go. Moscow Police Department, Jeff Fry said during a Wednesday press conference there was no sign of forced entry at the house. You know what I'm starting to think? I think that the back door was notoriously unlocked. Hey, thanks so much, M10, for the 5 memberships. I think the back door was likely, I actually think the back door was broken and could not be locked at the time. But people had locks on their doors and didn't use them. Doesn't that make sense? Because that's why those chairs were in there, because police needed to make it so people couldn't get in. So they put those chairs there, and then you say, well, why would they put the chairs there? Well, because the locks don't work. If they worked, they would just lock the back sliders, and then, as they normally do, come in and out the front door. Doesn't that make sense logically? See when you use common sense like that? Moo BK's gate is creepy. I'm sure Dylan Mortensen can tell if it's him when he... I don't know. She didn't see that much of him. All she saw was his face and that he turned. She's not looking at the gate. She's not looking at anything. Somebody the other day said, hey, did they see what kind of... Did he have a logo on his shirt or anything? Maybe she could... Why didn't she see the logo? And it's like, let me ask you, put a 1 if that's the first thing you'd be thinking of when you're hearing screaming and you open your door and there's a guy walking towards you with a balaclava on, holding something that looks like a vacuum. Are you going to think, you know what? He had a Nike shirt on. I mean, it's just ridiculous. That's like the last thing in the world that you would even think of seeing. The 4 friends were all members of Greek life on campus. 2 other roommates were home the night of the attack, but police said Friday they are not suspects in the case. Oh, come on! How come, man? Said the Pro-Burgers. Moscow police said they were killed in an isolated, targeted attack. Initially, the department said there was no immediate threat to the community, but they walked back that statement on Wednesday as... it's always a stupid thing to say when 4 people are killed and you don't have the person arrested yet. The Latah County coroner on Thursday revealed the victim's manner of death as homicide, murder, and their cause of death as stabbing. So that's the front of the house right there. That's the front door. That's the storage unit window. Taking photos right there. They're just documenting everything in case it's needed. That doesn't mean that somebody entered the window here. They take pictures of everything. Wow, look at that. Cheryl Moran gifted 5 or 10 even. Jesus. That's crazy. Let's see. Marzel, very generous of you. Thank you. House Model, Rachel Greenlee, A.Y. Schnitzel Zimmel, Thread and Thistle, Cricket, Crystal Limited Edition, Nikita, and Jonet Johnson. Thank you. And we got another Ted Bundy coffee there. Nice, we got that one. Idaho murder suspect Brian Koberger allegedly spammed 1 victim. Okay, so this is another thing related to... Oh, hold on, let me get rid of it. This is another one related to... so Nancy Grace went all the way to the house, huh? It's another one related to the... if Madison Mogen was first or not, okay? or not first, was the target of the murders. Hey, thanks, Mustang Sally. I don't catch a lot of your lives, but I always watch the replays. You are the best, Gray. The only coverage anyone ever needs. Yeah, well, thank you. I think it's like that on all the cases that we cover that are, any of them, actually, but, even the bigger ones, because we just stay in a lane of normalcy. If you like the crazy conspiracy theories, then this is not the place to watch. I'm just being honest. And by the way, there's not 1,500 people watching. That's a glitch. We did have probably about 600 something. That's a real number. But there's somebody out there that purchases. They think it's affecting my account, but I've contacted YouTube on it each time this happens, and they go, no, it's real. And it just isn't, I can tell you. Yeah, let's see. Anyways, I appreciate that comment. Oh, look at that. I didn't even, that was funny because Zozo sent me this one earlier, and I said, remember that? We heard about slipped into the DMs. I didn't even read the article again, and it says it right there right here. I just was going to read it here. Let's see. Brian, I said it too in our chat that we had. So Brian Koberger, the criminology PhD student accused of ambushing a group of University of Idaho undergrads in November, allegedly sent one of the 4 victims a series of private messages on Instagram before the slayings, according to a new report. Okay. He slid into one of the girls' DMs several times, but she didn't respond, an unnamed investigator told the People. Basically, it was just him saying, hey, how are you? But he did it again and again. See, that's interesting, right? What if that's real? Hey, thank you, Resurrection Co. Yeah, there's all this stuff that we've kind of, we sort of forgot about over the couple of years here that's actually, or almost 3, well, about, 2.5 years. So it says the FBI, which assisted Moscow, Idaho police in trailing Koberger from his apartment in Pullman, Washington to his parents' house in Pennsylvania, Poconos Mountains, did not immediately respond to a request for comment. Fox News Digital was unable to confirm the reporting independently. The new allegations come as details around the case are subject to a gag order. I'm sort of wondering if it, the Koberger liking images of Madison Mogen sort of morphed into, through the telephone game, that he was actually in their DMs messaging. I mean, that would be earth-shattering. I mean, if the defense knows that those exist, and I'll tell you this for certain, they aren't going to ever mention that in any of their arguments that they have, because look how bad it was for Koberger when Ann Taylor finally said, yeah, well, it looks like you have his vehicle driving by the Ridge Road camera there. No front license plate, etc. But there's no connection between that camera and the other ones. And then basically you're trying to say that they have to have a camera at every house to prove that it's the same vehicle driving forward, which is absurd. Okay? Let's see. Yeah, there's people that said that. Right. It's okay. I mean, there's a lot of rumors out there, like what Soli said. It's like, there's rumors. I don't know if that's a real thing. That she said to everybody, be quiet, you're making too much noise. You know what? I don't think that's going to be true. And the reason I don't think it's going to be true is because there's a lot of stuff that people put out there to try to make Dylan and Bethany look terrible by saying certain things. Remember how it was that they didn't even call 911? Somebody else did. Well, that's a lie. That's not true. Bethany Funk called 911. She was actually the one on the phone, and then there was other people that grabbed the phone, but she was the one that called. So where are all those people who made that crap up? Because that never was true. But yeah, I mean, some of these rumors are likely to be true. I mean, I'll tell you what, the one that I want to know, if it's really something said, was, did Bethany Funk say later that she saw somebody getting undressed or dressed outside? Hey, thanks, Ritzy one. And that would be crazy, because that would mean that, like, if you took this one right here, let me open up this one. Come on. Yeah, it takes a while to load in. It's on a separate drive, so. Come on. It's just not moving. It's crazy. There you go. Hold on. Let's see if we go up back a little bit. Right here. So if the vehicle was parked right where this vehicle was parked, but facing the other direction, you know, just a little bit further, you can see that, look at right there. That right there is Bethany Funk's window. So what if she was able to look up here and see somebody undressing and switching clothing? That'd be huge. But you know why I don't think that is real at this point? I hope it is. But the reason I don't think it's real is because wouldn't that be in the text message exchange between her and Dylan? Wouldn't she have said, oh my God, I saw this guy was undressed? You know, that definitely would be in there, wouldn't it? I mean, it's like they're talking about what's going on. You know, he's wearing all black, da-da-da. And she goes, yeah, I think I saw him undressing outside. It was crazy. Wouldn't she have said that in those text messages? And so I don't know if I don't know if I can believe that one. I hope it's true, though. Man, that'd be an incredibly damning piece of information. Especially a guy who wrote down exactly how to mitigate the blood spatter. Let's see. What article? I can't remember which one that was in. That was more of a newer document, right? I'm just trying to find some documents. Working on Koberger. God, it's just so much. So hard to get into these files. It's crazy. Okay, there we go. Is it this one? What was the let's see, or did she say say it, but when Dylan got to her. What does that mean, Melissa? Can you write a better sentence? I don't know what that means. It's just really hard to. Oh yeah, I'm looking for what document was the thing that he wrote about crime scene. Like, it was a big document that he wrote on that. I think it was sort of recent. I'm just looking for it right now. Yeah, the final paper. I just don't know where it is. I don't know what it was called. Like, what was it about? Timing advance records. No. No, not that one. I'm just kind of looking for it over here in the, on the side. Okay, that was the 28th. How about the 20? How about the 24th? There's a big one here that might have it. No. How about the 26th? Oh, it might be in here. This is the one that had all the big ones in it. They're really, like, it had this. This one's huge in terms of importance. The one that had the GPS coordinates in it. I'm just wondering if it was in here. I think it's darker text. Oh, that's it right there. I just happened to pause it right in the middle of the middle of it. Yeah, look at it. See? He wrote all this stuff here, all of it. Packaging the evidence for the forensic lab. Evidence chain of custody. Outreach to other. The compilation of evidence in the preliminary report. Okay, I'm gonna go up to the top. All right. Arriving at the crime scene. Equipment I will have on hand for the investigation. Entering the home for crime scene documentation and initial photography and videography. The crime scene sketch. The more comprehensive crime scene search using a strip search method. The collection of items. I think it's going to be up here. Hey, thanks, Mustang Sally. Entering the home. Okay, right here. I must ensure that myself and my fellow crime scene personnel are wearing gloves, other protective equipment, as to avoid contaminating the scene with latent fingerprints. Well, you know he's going to be wearing gloves, right? Hey, thanks, Ted Bundy again. And other protective equipment to avoid contaminating the scene with latent fingerprints. A fiber-free boot cover. There you go. Man, wouldn't that be interesting? I don't know if he did that, though. Would be also ideal to avoid leaving physical footprints or residue from the boot. Anything that is fiber-free and covers the mouth, hair, and overall body would be helpful. I mean, like your balaclava, which covered your mouth. In avoiding crime scene contamination, since hair, well, shit, he should have put duct tape on his eyebrows, right? I'm sure there's a pile of eyebrow hair right in front of Dylan Mortenson's room. Yeah. Yeah, they got that. That's all over the place. Oh, man. They weren't sure what they were looking at. Fibers can be left via the theory of exchange and would contaminate the crime scene from its initial state as the offender left it. Even if we can assume that there was an offender, despite seeming obvious, preventing contamination is an important way to ensure the integrity of the investigation. We should always treat the crime scene as if there is indeed a criminal homicide, as to not miss out on important details. Yeah, so you can see right here how he knows what to do to not contaminate a crime scene, and therefore, would know how to not contaminate. I guess what it'd be like, what steps to take to put on like the PPE. That's what we should go read. It was underneath that video that I made. Let me go find that. I thought it was really good. All right, hold on a second. You want to hear that comment that a nurse made underneath one of my videos? It's pretty good. I think tomorrow's the first day of the Lori trial, right? So if you guys want to come here, I'm going to speed it up, 135 or 35% speeding it up, remove all the garbage, and it's going to be really interesting because she's actually defending herself. And I just think that'll be so entertaining. All right, hold on. Talking and eventually going to fall asleep. So when Koberger goes in there and he... Oh, there you go. There, it's right here at the top. As a retired hospital nurse, I can assure you that it is possible to be trained to put on PPE in a controlled way so as not to contaminate the PPE with your uniform and skin. Then attend a patient, become contaminated with their disease and body fluids. Then take off the PPE in a specific order, rolling everything up inside out so that it all ends up inside the gown. Then throw the rolled up ball in the bin with no contamination on the outside, formerly the inside that was touching you of the ball. So what you're the contaminated portions on the inside of the ball, and the inner part is on the outside that you were wearing before. Formerly the inside that was touching you of the ball of the discarded PPE in the bin. If you assume he was wearing a full suit covering the legs like a forensic coverall, this would also be possible. This is how nurses who have 10 separate patients to care for manage not to transfer highly contagious diseases to their other patients on that shift. We're trained to put PPE on and off in a very specific way, one piece at a time. Same with surgeons. It's not difficult. It just takes training and a small amount of practice. I mean, there you go, man. I mean, he just, watches a few videos on YouTube, I'm sure, and boom, there you go. Hey, thanks, K-Me. Forehead foliage is guilty. Jim Lawn, kitten mittens. Don't know what that means, but hey, all right. Yeah, this one document had a lot of the good stuff in it. It talked about Amazon. I think it even had the sheath information. All right, let me get back to let's see where we're at here in terms of the goal. I think we're still almost there. I think we need if we can get another 5 memberships or so, then I'll donate 5 memberships as well. And then we'll be up to, well, let's get 6 more memberships, and then I'll donate 5, and then we'll have 25. But if we're gifted a membership, consider staying on as a member, because that's kind of the whole point of people gifting memberships, is that you like it and then you'll stay around. I don't have a lot of the extra time to do a bunch of stuff, but if you get the emojis, and sometimes it's not incredibly common, but I do some live streams that are just for members, etc. I mean, I should probably do more of that. It's just, man, just the amount of time that I'm spending making videos and doing the live streams already, it's hard to find that extra time. All right, look at that. We got 4 paws, gifted one. Need 5 more of the gifted ones. Welcome, Sasset. You're back. You just can't stay away, huh? Well, look at that. The generous Cheryl Moran. Let's see, Melanie Tone, Pamela Cher, Angel Rose, Judy Holiday, and Gemini. Hey, thanks, Katie Jen. Here is 5. All right, I'm going to open up there's another article I was going to read. I think we're still in the middle. One of them. Was it this one? She called. Says she called. No, it's different. It's this one. Oh yeah? Was Matt looking for one? Alright, let's go through this. Brian Koberger, the criminology PhD student accused of ambushing a group of University of Idaho undergrads in November, allegedly sent one of the 4 victims a series of private messages on Instagram before the slayings, according to a new report. He slid into one of the girls' DMs several times, but she didn't respond. Right. So I think we kind of went over some of this already, but how are you? But he did it over and over and over again. Fox News Digital was unable to confirm it. Koberger reportedly sent the first message in late October. See, it's interesting to have any sort of detail on this. So that gives a little bit more weight, that he sent one in October, then a series of follow-up when he did not receive a response, according to People. I guess we might have to go click on that link. On November 13, 2022, police alleged that he snuck into a 6-bedroom rental house on King Road in Moscow, Idaho, and killed 4 students, at least some of whom are believed to have been asleep at the start of the ambush. I think the only one that wasn't asleep, or at least lying in bed, was Xana. She had just got that DoorDash and likely was awake eating it. And maybe Ethan was still laying in bed. I mean, I guess we were all just assuming that the sounds that were heard were Xana's sounds. But what if Ethan was the one he said, "It's okay, I'm here to help you," too? Wouldn't that be interesting? Because it was in the dark when he attacked him. But it's weird. Why are we assuming that, the whimpering sound? Because anybody could make a sound that sounds like that. They didn't assign a gender to it. You could be on the ground going, like you're in pain or something, and maybe he's the one that Koberger said, "It's okay, I'm here to help you," too. On November 13, 2022, police alleged that he snuck into a 6-bedroom rental house. The victims, 21-year-old Kaylee Gonzalez and Madison Mogen, and 20-year-old Xana Kernodle and Ethan Chapin, include 3 young women who live together and a visiting boyfriend. It's sad. Shannon Gray, the attorney for Gonzalez's parents, said no one knew about Koberger before the slaying. However, he left open the possibility. Any information any of the families gather regarding connections to any of the victims will be turned over to the Moscow Police Department. Hey, and by the way, don't forget to help support the channel on the Buy Me a Coffee app, where they don't take anywhere near as much as YouTube does. I don't mind, being supported on YouTube, I'm just saying. Hey, we got Kathy sent me coffee too, and Ted Bundy's been loading me up with coffee. Sounds weird to say, I have to admit, but that's their username, Ted Bundy. Yeah. Ah, jeez. Who are you talking to, KJ? Hold on. I gotta go up and make sure. Yeah, they did find ID cards in a box. Right. Yeah, that would be pretty interesting. Like, what is it? And there's another one. If the ID found in the glove in the box is one of the victims, then it's just absolutely over at that point. But it's not something that Ann Taylor would ever bring up. She would never want it to be mentioned anywhere in any documents of any kind, because she knows that even some of her Probergers would be peeled off. But you know what? I don't think so. I think the Probergers are so dug in that they wouldn't care if it was on videotape. They would say it was edited. And if at this point, if he had a driver's license of Madison Mogen in a glove, in a box, and that's a fact, they'll say it was planted, just like the knife sheath. That's what they would say. Instead of just thinking, ooh, wow, look at that. Maybe he took a souvenir, and when he left the sheath, he was leaving a calling card. Those are all classic things. So here's what I would think. Koberger would, after studying it, would do all of the things that serial killers technically do, right? A lot of times they take a souvenir, something to remind the killer of what they did. And then, a lot of times, they leave a calling card. And Koberger would want to do all those things and be just the cliche, classic serial killer, but his own one, because he's leaving K-bar knife sheaths around. Nobody said it was planted, Jay. That's what the Probergers would say. Yeah, but why would he want to have a picture of himself being hit by a baseball bat? Yeah. Let's see. He was probably planning to hide stuff in BTK hiding hole and didn't get the chance. I don't know. Mm-hmm. Since as... Oh, I'm sure you did, Mark. I'm sure you did. Hey, thanks, Tumbleweed, regarding Madison Mogen fingernail DNA. Hey, wait, hold on. I gotta catch this.
DNA.
Ah!
The test was inconclusive and the other Queldine rule out became. Is that correct?
Let's see. Regarding Madison Mogen fingernail DNA, one test was inclusive and the other couldn't rule out. Yeah, right. He wasn't ruled out. But if you listen to the Probergers, they always say that he was ruled out, and it's just not the case. It just isn't the case at all. Hey, thanks so much, Tumbleweed. I was hoping to turn it on to hear the cat eye donation sound effect, but it didn't happen. Right? That is correct. They were not able to rule him out. I don't know how strong of information that is. You know? I don't really care about that. I mean, it'd be great to have a backup piece of information, but the knife sheath itself is very significant. And actually, the bushy eyebrow stuff is important too. So you got the bushy eyebrows and the balaclava. And it turns out the balaclava was purchased on Amazon in January of 2022. Bushy eyebrows, Kohberger has. She saw that. And she said it right then at the time. And then then a knife sheath was found on Madison Mogen's bed that had DNA on it. A same exact make and model of a K-bar knife and sheath that was purchased by Brian Kohberger in March of 2022. And his DNA was on it. And wouldn't you know that at the very same time that the knife sheath was left there, a white Elantra was driving around outside missing its front license plate. And so before his DNA was found, you could argue that, oh, yeah, I mean, he does own a white Elantra and he was driving around, but that wasn't his. You know, even though it was missing a front license plate, there are a few that don't have front license. You could argue that. But then when you realize that the DNA was on the knife sheath that was left there while the Elantra was parked outside, you'd have to, it's not reasonable to believe as somebody on a jury that the Elantra that was parked out there then is not his. Okay, it's not reasonable. At that point, you can't say, I mean, people do think that way, though. It's crazy. Phyllis, thank you, said, your animations are awesome. Make it easier to understand the logistics. Thanks for your hard work. Well, thank you. Yeah, I think I'm going to try to deploy that kind of stuff in more of the, the bigger cases. It takes too much work to put out on a smaller case because nobody watches the videos. But I think on the bigger ones, it's, I have this, it takes forever to make the map because you have to, I use Google Earth and I stitch it all together and make a huge, massive map. And then it's clear when it's rendered out so you can see the ground and everything. It'd be really cool. I was looking up some way that you can, in the 3D version of Google Earth, you can capture the 3D surrounding, but I don't know, it didn't really work that good. Police have previously been looking into whether Kohberger had stalked the victims prior to the slayings, according to the court documents. Man, sometimes I wonder if we go back. There's so many court documents, though. It's almost impossible to look through them at this point. There's so many of them. Hey, look at that. Another coffee. Says, thank you for accurate facts. Ben, this is from Durndon. Thank you for your accurate facts. Been following the case from day one. 100% guilty. Yeah. Prayers for the families. Let me just ask you something. So there's got to be some people watching right now that you're not certain, right? Like you're still not sure. So tell me what it is. And don't say the Ray stuff, because that stuff is just, it's nonsensical. Okay. Seems like Kohbergers only care to deal with one piece of evidence at a time. Right, they don't care about so they'll say this, they'll go, hey, there's a lot of Elantras in the area, and I'm sure a lot of them don't have front license plate. Okay, so, you can't say that's Kohberger's vehicle. It's not illegal to drive a car around. Okay, yeah. Oh, well, the DNA was planted on the knife sheath. The knife sheath was planted there. Well, what about the fact that he bought a K-bar knife? Well, I mean, maybe it was a friend of his that knew that he had purchased one, and it's not really that rare to buy a K-bar knife sheath. I mean, a lot of people buy them. I mean, shit, that's why they sell them, because people buy them. Okay? Well, what about the balaclava? Well, I mean, a lot of people buy balaclavas. It's wintertime. I mean, people like to have a warm head, so they buy balaclavas. Yeah. Okay. What about driving? Well, a lot of people drive around late at night. And a lot of people turn off their phone because they want it to be peaceful. Yeah, but how many people call somebody at 3:30 in the morning where they would think they needed to turn their phone off? Well, I mean, he could have been a blah, 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 blah. It just goes on and on and on. Never ends, man. Never ends. I mean, just think about that, what I just said, though. Why would you turn your phone off at 3:30 in the morning? Who the hell's calling you at that time? There isn't a soul that's calling you at that time. And what it means is he turned his phone off so he could commit the murders.
Came in late. Was Madison Mogen the target?
I think she was. Yeah. I think Madison Mogen's the target. I think even Steve Gonzalez in those, he's kind of saying that in those different articles. Yeah, we kind of went over the different articles that point. Apparently he liked or was following Kaylee and Madison, but he liked images in Madison Mogen's Instagram. And then apparently he was talking to somebody, but we don't know about that, if that's true or not. I mean, it's in an article that we were just looking at. This one right here. Allegedly spammed one victim's Instagram. Now, if there was any of them, it was going to be Kaylee or Madison that he spammed, and the fact that he liked Madison's images probably means that she would be the one that he was, quote, spamming, right? If that's a real story. They, obviously they couldn't verify it, but they said he tried to communicate in October. I think she is. I used to think he went there to kill all the victims, kind of like Bundy did in the sorority house in Florida, where he went in to kill people, multiple people. But I don't know, it changed. After a while, you sort of think about it logistically, and it just sort of seems like, okay, Kaylee wasn't even supposed to be there, and she just happened to be in Madison's room. So when he went there to kill Madison, that happened. She was there. So he killed both of them. And then somebody does say, hey, there's somebody here. Well, then that means, oh, wow, they just alerted Kohberger, the killer, that they're there. And so then he then felt compelled to go kill them too, to protect his identity. A little bit like Richard Allen did when he killed Abby. He didn't really want to, but he did it to preserve his identity. Yeah, it does make sense. Yeah. I don't know. What do you guys think? I mean, isn't it like I'd really like to hear from in the comments though the people that are still just not sure. There's something that's bugging them. I can't find anything, man. There is nothing. I have not seen. I mean, maybe you could type something in. Have you seen anything, Zozo? Have you seen anything, Timothy? Cheryl? Any of you guys? Lisa? Have you guys seen anything that points away from Kohberger? Has there been anything produced by anybody on the pro-Berger side that literally, the planted one is the craziest thing I've ever heard. It's like that's the only option you have when you've run out of anything. You come up with, oh, it was planted, which is not believable. And that's even what ChatGPT said. I have not seen anything produced by anybody associated with Kohberger that is compelling information that points away from him being the person. There has been nothing. And I'm still waiting. And I'll tell you what, if there is something that came forward that was just earth-shattering, I would go, ooh, and I would look at it. I really would. I'm saying there is nothing. This case is crystal clear currently. And there is, I haven't even heard of anything that is interesting. Even the Cyray stuff is not compelling information. It might be they're trying to get the death penalty taken off the table because there was an error or something. You know, if there is something like they tried to hide something, it doesn't mean he's not the killer. It means that they did something they shouldn't have done, and then you just punish them by taking the death penalty off the table. I'm not even saying that's what they did. I'm just saying Kohberger's the killer, you guys. You're not going to be able to just have somebody toss it out. I wonder what the judge is going to say. Yeah, so there's a hearing. So I'm going to cover that. I think it's going to be streamed, right? I think it's, what is it, the 8th? What day is the stream? Yeah, right. I know. I don't know why people say it's my opinion. I think sometimes like we have to say it because we are, you know, I'm not even going to say in my opinion. Like I've always said, Kohberger is the killer, right? I don't say in my opinion Kohberger is the killer because he is the killer. But when you're talking about someone like Cyray, you know, in my opinion, he's a discredited expert, you know, with quotes around it. He's literally, I mean, the thing that his software produced was horrendous. That it showed that a man was stalking somebody and his car was outside the residence over and over and over again, where the actual GPS coordinates of the same vehicle showed it was nowhere near there. So he was making his software magically show information that did not exist. Okay? So that's how I look at it. That's not a YouTube rule. I can say what I can say what the hell I want. You know? I mean, you can't say certain words or you're not monetized, but I'm just saying I don't need to say in my opinion. Here's what the reality is. Brian Kohberger is the killer, and if he's found not guilty, they'll never investigate this case again. It's just like the Delphi case. If he's found not guilty by a bunch of whack jobs that are basically the Kohberger mindset type of wackos, and he's found not guilty somehow, they will never look into this again, and there will never be justice for Kaylee, Madison, Ethan, and Xana. And that's just the reality. Right, well, that's what serial killer type people do. Brian Kohberger wanted to be a serial killer. Now, whether or not he's killed before, we don't know. I think that this was his first one, and he's not a serial killer because he killed 4 people in the same residence. Makes him kind of a mass killer. Had he killed somebody like Madison and then a month later killed another person unassociated with Madison, that would be another one. That was on the 9th. What time? Oh, jeez. Okay. 9 a.m. on the 9th. Yeah. Tim Collins said, you practically have to create Brian's clone for the evidence to fit somebody else. Yeah. I work up in Moscow at least once a quarter, and drove by the home and made a few turns here and there to see his path. Well, that doesn't, driving by the home doesn't have anything to do with, like your sentence doesn't really make sense. Like, I work up in Moscow at least once a quarter and drove by the house and made a few turns here and there to see his path. No doubt in my mind, Brian is the killer. Well, how does that mean that? Driving around. I drove the routes and I had to figure out, I knew what the route was on a map, but I had to drive it like 4 times before I could go, oh, okay, here we go. I got it. So I think that's what he was doing on his scouting trips, but I just don't know what the, by you driving the route, that means it was Koberger. What makes it Koberger is that a vehicle, a white Elantra, was driving those routes, and at one point shows that it's missing a front license plate, and then a knife sheath was left in Madison Mogen's room that had DNA on it, which was Brian Koberger's, and it was left during the time that the white Elantra was parked outside the residence for a 13-minute window of time, and he was wearing a balaclava. And it turns out he ordered a balaclava on Amazon in January of 2022, and then he ordered a K-bar knife and a sheath in March of 2022, the same year as the killings. Yeah, I mean, those right there, that's pretty big information, gotta be honest. Let's see. MM was not engaged to Jake. No. Jake who? Who's that? See, not that he's strong, just looming effects from it. You talking about Jack? And it would have been Kaylee and Jack, not Madison. Or his boyfriend. That's right, she had a boyfriend named Jake, right? Yeah, there's like 2 Jacks and a Jake. That's the craziest thing in the world. Right, I just remembered. Yeah, I know, I just said that, you guys. Like 30 seconds before you guys... well, I guess we're on a delay. The K-bar can give tear marks after it being used. Okay. Do we need to know that for some reason, or? Yeah, he works for State Farm, Missy. That's right. He works at State Farm. Oh, jeez. Come on. Because why does that bother you, Chrissy? That he went through. It's crazy. How did you even know that the back sliding glass door would be open? Wow. It's nothing, man. I'm just curious why people ask that. That's never even popped into my head. Maybe it's unlocked sometimes, maybe it isn't. Maybe you have the K-bar knife to break it open. I mean, who the hell knows? But it's weird that that's a sticking point for people. It's bizarre. I thought was interesting was how the sliding glass door appears to have been broken in terms of being locked, because you got the chairs on the ground when law enforcement was there to keep the door shut. So why would they need those chairs at all? Excuse me. Yeah, why would you need the chairs all when you can just lock them inside? Well, they didn't. Yeah, maybe because the lock was broken. Maybe he broke it one night intentionally. Wouldn't that be interesting, you guys? What if Brian Koberger, on one of those late night trips, snuck there in the middle of the night and broke that lock, and it was somewhat recently, knowing that those kids, who cares? We got locks in our rooms. They're not going to take the time to call the manager to have him come out and fix it. And so what if he's the one that broke the lock on that sliding glass door? Wouldn't that be interesting? Has anybody else ever said that? I think this was BK's opus. Oh, well, he thought he would get away with it. Maybe target people after.
I think this was BK's opus.
Yeah, sure it is. Sure it is, Mike.
Maybe target more people after.
Let's see, there you go.
Thanks, Ray.
He's not showing any signs of remorse. Is he showing any? I'm just kidding. I'm sure other people have thought of it. It's not like it's not a, you know. It makes sense then, doesn't it? Thank you. No, they meant opus. It's like a. I think they. I don't know. Let me see what the. I know I've heard it used that way a million times. Oh, there goes my stomach. Ugh, God. A separate composition or set of compositions by a particular composer, usually ordered by date of publication. Yeah, well. I know what it was. Magnus Opus or something like that. That's the one I've heard before. You talking to me, Willie? Hey, Willie, are you talking to me? They said, get a life. Nothing that you have to say is relevant. Well, I can tell you that everything that I'm talking about is going to be relevant. It's people like you who have brains that do not work correctly who don't realize that. Your buddy Koberger is the killer. He's not going to play D&D with you later. If you're a woman, he's not going to go out on a date with you. Unless you like somebody saying, boy, you sure have nice birthing hips. Feel free. Hey, GSU PM. Hey, Gray has the most amazing... Okay, nothing you're saying is relevant. That's all I say. I don't even talk about the irrelevant stuff. I get people to not talk about them. Like, who cares about, various things? Like, oh, why didn't Dylan call 911? Why didn't this? Why didn't that? Why didn't this and this and this and this and this and this? Bethany called 911. That's why Dylan didn't call 911, by the way. Well, why didn't they call earlier, Gray? Well, because they didn't. I think they hunkered down all night and they didn't want to verify the fear that they had. They thought, God, that was crappy. That was weird, man. What the hell was going on? What the hell's going on? You notice in those text messages, they never said, should we call the cops? Isn't that interesting? Because that's kind of like a college kid sort of thing. They were just like, God, that was creepy. Who was that guy? And then they tried to get a hold of everybody, and it probably made them nervous, but they didn't want to go look, and they didn't want to call the cops, and they didn't want to... Just saying what? Yeah. They don't live in reality. Yeah, I'm not. This channel, I think, has been the only one that me, personally... I know some people in here, but I've never even questioned any of that stuff because it's just, you look at it and you go, well, they didn't kill anybody. They didn't do it. Yeah, it just means work. I think it was the Magnus Opus is the one I was referring to. So you wouldn't just say his opus. You'd say Magnus, Magnum, I think it's Magnum or Magnus Opus, which is like probably like your greatest piece of work, right? I think that's what you probably wanted to put in there. Because it wouldn't, an opus would just be a piece of work. Yeah, right there. So there you go. That would be right here. What is the meaning of Magnus Opus? which entered in English retains real spelling and literally means great work. That's what you probably meant to put in there. Right? Did I get that right? Come on. I knew what you meant, though. I knew what you meant. Yeah, magnum opus. I just didn't remember which one it was. I knew it was one of them. When 911 callers said they were unresponsive, surprised they didn't mention... Why? Why does that surprise you? Well, who cares? My God, you guys. Why didn't the first responders mention all the blood? Did you ask yourself that? They were talking, didn't hear a damn thing. Ah, Jesus, you guys. They didn't... None of the people went to the room. You could see how freaked out they were once they had to go to the room and look, and the one guy was freaked out. Okay, he was breathing deeply. He was freaked out. Worry about stuff that matters, okay? And be a kinder human. Be a kind human. Because it seems like you're trying to blame them. And if you're not, then why do you care? See, here's the thing. When you ask a question like, when 911 callers said they were unresponsive, surprised they didn't mention all the blood that must have been present. Did they not notice that? So what do you need by the answer to that question? Because do you think that Dylan or Bethany or the 911 first responders have something to do with the killing? Do you think they have anything to do with it at all? And if the answer is no, then answering your question is irrelevant and is absolutely meaningless for the case, right? Now, we don't know that, Zerper77. You can make stuff up all day long. Okay, I know what you're saying, be kind, be a kind human. Then why does it matter if they're not related to the killings? It's just the way it was.
What the hell is this game?
They didn't see it. Or maybe they didn't want to mention it, okay? That's what I'm trying to tell you, is focus on the things that matter in terms of trying to figure out the case, not, oh, wow, how come they didn't do this, but I don't think they're involved. It's okay, well, there must be some lingering doubt to even continue to keep asking that question over and over. I see it every day. That doesn't fail. Every day somebody asks the same thing. Do you guys understand what I'm saying? I'm literally telling you the truth right here. I know, but you... Okay, I see what you're saying, be a kind human. It's just an observation. Yes, it's an observation, but I'm trying to get you to look at things differently. We all observe these things. We've all seen them. And if you notice, the only time I ever talk about them is when I'm combating back to somebody who keeps wanting to talk about it. Because once you've realized that, especially when you listen to the 911 call and you read the text messages, they were freaked out, right? So they have nothing to do with the killings. So it doesn't have anything to do with the death. So it's like, yeah, you know, it'd be great to know. Maybe someday we'll get to know. Oh, yeah, well, we were just looking at trial. We'll probably hear the door was partially open. We could see the legs, and we called her name out, but she didn't respond. So we never really went into the room, and we didn't want to look in the room. And then when 911 operator has to look in, the first guy, he looked in and he saw the blood, and he goes, get back, get back, get back, get back, get back. That's probably why he said that. He didn't want to freak those girls out and say, there's blood everywhere, there's blood everywhere. He's the only person that ever looked into that room. See, there you go. That makes sense? Be kind and human. How about that? I'm just trying to, I want it to be, I think people will do so much better at analyzing crimes and stuff if you don't get hung up on irrelevant things. Okay, now, I wouldn't say this if it was something that has a nexus to the crime. I wouldn't say the same thing. I understand the humans wanting to know the answers to things, but they're not. Try to focus in on the significant ones, because people get stuck. You know, like, how come the door, like the sliding door, how did he know that? How did he know that? I don't know. I mean, who cares? Okay, he got into the sliding glass door. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, if there's an answer, it's great to know the irrelevant things, but then move on and never talk about it again. Yeah, it's great to just get the quick answer. But the answer is probably going to be that the door was slightly open. You could just see that her legs were there, and we were like, from a distance we could see it. We called her name, she didn't respond, so we think she's passed out. So eventually we called our friends, and they tried to do the same thing. They never really went into the room. And then when the 911 operator said, go into the room, she said, we have to. And that should have indicated to you guys that they had never gone into the room yet when she said, but we have to. So they all went together, and one of the guys went first and looked in there, and he was like, holy shit, hey, Xana, you know, and Ethan, say something. And then he's like, get back, because he finally opened up the door and looked and saw it, and goes, get back, and goes down the stairs, and he's breathing really hard because he saw the horror that was in that room, and he did not say it out loud because he didn't want to freak those girls out. And that was sort of alluded to in the message that the Gonzalez family wrote. Doesn't that make sense right there? Because they had never been in there. Had they been in there, they would have said, oh, yeah, we've already gone in there. She just wouldn't. So you have that one. Now, the sliding glass door in the back, how about we just assume, for the sake of argument, that Brian Koberger is the one, that he is the one that sort of messed up the lock on the slider not too long before that and planned it that way on one of his other trips. And he knew that being college students, they're not likely to quickly get on top of that and get a hold of somebody to have them come out and fix the sliding glass door to the kitchen, when apparently they all have locks on their room doors. Who was hidden? Oh. Yeah, I don't know. We don't have to. Can you unhide him then, Zoza? I don't want people hidden. And I want people should be able. Everybody in here can say what they want to say. Which account are you talking about? Oh, the Lucy one or Lindsay? Anyways, you guys can make it right? Go unhide or do whatever you're going to do. Right. Not all things you're curious about. Right. I mean, I like to know the factual elements, but, you know, there's some things that people, they go, God, I wonder what kind of shoes Dylan was wearing. You know? It's, okay. I've never heard that one. I'm just giving you an example. And then you look them up and they go, Grant, I've been searching all day. Apparently she wears white shoes. Now, these are all the white shoes that are made for women. And they have like 97 links to different sites. And then, well, what other thing do you have to narrow it down? Well, nothing, but, you know, considering, oh boy. Okay, cool. Sorry, Lindsay, you accidentally got blocked or hidden for a minute. MPD definitely wanted to know why it took so long to call 911, and they grilled the girls hard enough. They both got lawyers. I know how stupid those people are. The MPD. I mean, that just shows you that's why they're not very good. Okay. After they saw and heard the 911 call, and after they read the text messages, they should have known that they had absolutely nothing to do with it. It's ridiculous that they were even like, because I remember in those early press conferences, even that first guy that would do them, he was like, yeah, we don't know why they didn't call 911, you know, kind of adding fuel to the fire of people, believing there's a conspiracy or something else going on. Thanks, Zozo, for fixing that. Mm-hmm. I don't know, their text paint a big picture. Yeah, paints a picture that they had nothing to do with it. Jesus, where do you guys come from? I don't know, their texts paint a big picture of what? What does it paint a big picture of? Go ahead, let me hear it. Hey, thanks, Kimberly. That's what I try to do here. And I've been doing this for years. It's unfortunate, YouTube, though, doesn't ever put me in the algorithm. So my channel grows really slow. Well, sometimes it grows quick and sometimes slow. But, I do have 150-something thousand subs, but it's taken me years and years to get there. Thank you, Georgina Stoliker. You know what I wish, though, is that you guys would watch my show when I'm covering other cases, though. Like we just covered 2 cold cases yesterday, or I think it was yesterday, and they were pretty interesting. Like they were, like it's crazy when you put it all together and you look at it and you go, geez, weird circumstances in some of those things. Map it all out. What does that mean, Tinny? That doesn't make any sense of anything that I just said. Hey, welcome, Sizzy Q Down Under. Men at work. Get some Vegemite in the Arvo. Is that what it is? Arvo? Yep. Text between girls paint a picture of the timeline when the murder occurred. Yeah, that's about it. Right. And it also shows that they were freaked out at the time. Oh, hold on. The dead bodies in your house, rather than contacting... Well, they don't know that there's a dead body in the house, Chris. That's where you have a fallacy in your thinking. They didn't know that there was any dead bodies in the house. Okay? Cuckoo. You sound like you're cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. You don't need to remove the comment, though. Yeah, you don't need to remove the comments, Lisa. I don't, Lisa. You can't keep removing comments just because you don't agree with what they're saying, etc. Okay, I know it's frustrating as hell, but you just got to do it. Oh, yeah, Vegemite sandwich, right. Yeah, Arvo. Let's see. Vegemite sucks. Are you kidding me? Man, you know what it tastes like? Well, I can't even, there's nothing. But I mean, if you've eaten Vegemite your whole life, I'm sure it's great. A little thin spread on some toast, right? My dad sort of ended up liking it, but man. And then when I remember telling you guys about peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and you didn't even know what the hell it was. Yeah, yeast. Oh, jeez. Yeah, that's on the top of my menu. Yeast. Anyone want a bucket of yeast today? Yeah, that sounds awesome. Yeah. There are some fascinating older cases from the Pacific Northwest. Yeah, I did the Highway 20 one. The Groan case is 20 years old next month. I covered the Martin family. I did a 3-night episode. And see that's the thing, Wall Mike. It shows that you don't ever watch my show, because I did about 3 years ago I did a special on the Martin family case, and then just recently they found the vehicle in the water, and I went out to the spot on the gorge and walked right down to where they found the vehicle. So, maybe show up every once in a while. Yeah, the murders of Highway 20. Listening got kids to bed. Thanks for letting us know, Jenna. There was about 5 or 6 people that said, "Where'd Jenna go? Where'd Jenna go? Man, we've been waiting all day. Where's Jenna? She was so insightful earlier. Where did she go?" And now you've let us know that you're back. Okay, whew. Now we can continue the show. Now, what were we talking about when you left? Come on, you guys. How many people do that when they come in? They go, "I'm back, everybody." It's almost like, what did you expect? Everybody was just, the show stopped for 2 hours while you were gone, and then when you came back, we suddenly will pick up where... That's amazing, man. No, it's okay, Wall Mike. You should go check it out. We went through all the old newspaper articles. There were all these theories back then, and the guy was the Martin family. He was really into getting his whole block set up on Christmas lights, etc. What's that face, GSUPM? Peering through the hand. Yeah, what did I miss? Yeah. Grady, you take requests on sometimes. I mean, you can send them to me, and I put them in a folder. Mm-hmm. Hello from Morocco. Awesome. That's cool. All right. What else do you guys want to... I mean, I can talk about this case. For me, this case has always been incredibly interesting for me. There's some people that get bored. I can talk about it. I could do it every day if there was something, another angle or something interesting to talk about. With all these new not articles, but documents that have been coming out, it's been pretty awesome because it's really clarified and really solidified a lot of information. Especially the timeline of the Elantra. I mean, that thing was... I just thought it did these loops, specific loops, but it turns out it's basically using the back streets behind it to go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth in the neighborhood, and then coming back out. And then, you have the whole timing of the DoorDash delivery, where we're not really sure. It says 3:59 in the document, but that seems too convenient. I mean, what are the odds that it would land right on 3:59 flat? And then you hear on the surveillance footage of the 1330 Linda Lane, you can hear the I guess it's like a key fob at 3:59 and 47 seconds. And that seems like that's the DoorDash guy, but I could see, if it's 3:49 and they got quickly to the door and put it down, or they press the button, I guess you can actually say that it's delivered before you get there. Don't really know, but I feel more certain that he got there at 3:59 and 47 seconds, not 3:59, but that's what I put in the video because that's what it says in the document. But I think it's a little bit later, and I think that's why he didn't pull back in when he did the U-turn. He saw the car pull in there, and then it made him panic, so he did a U-turn on Walanta Drive and drove back up, and he could still see the lights on over there. So he drove by, and that's when he drove all the way around by Ridge Road again, and then the camera took a photo of the front of his vehicle. That's crazy. Crazy. I'll bet DoorDash guy will be called. I hope so. And I bet you that he, if it is the 359 time frame, they passed each other. They had to have passed each other inside the complex. I think that's a good way to call it. What do you guys think? I think it's a good term. You know, like this area here, right here on King Road, like just to call that the complex, because you can't get out of here. There's no way out. Once you go onto King Road, the only way back out is right there again. So when you're in there, you know, we could just sort of refer to it as a general term, you know, because that's sort of like, you know, you can't really say one name, so the complex kind of makes sense. Let's see. You love me? Why? What did I do? Isn't what a girl. Such a small world. What do you mean? Well, you said, isn't it a girl? Who are you talking to? What do you mean, what? I said, what is it? Isn't it a girl mean? Where did he dump the clothes and knife? I don't know. There's 16 minutes of missing time, however. So for those who haven't watched my channel, you probably wouldn't be aware that when Kohberger leaves, he's right here at about 4:25. Okay, and it only takes about 10 minutes or less to get down to where Blaine is right here. So there's a tower there, and on this highway, he got down here at 4:48 though. So that's 23 minutes. So it only takes like 8 minutes or so to get there, because it's not far. I mean, I'll just measure it for you. Watch. It's like, just kind of go over there, a little bit like that. Maybe go to here. That's 5 miles. It's nothing, right? So to get to Blaine, it's only 5 miles south of Moscow, Idaho. So he would have got there he should have been there by like 32, you know, like 4:32, but he wasn't. He got around this area by 4:48. And so that means from right here to right there, he's missing 16 minutes. So did he come down here? And there's another way he could have driven, this long green route right here, that I believe puts you back out in approximately the right time. But look at when it's right there, it would ping near Blaine. Now they would know, based on the cell tower, if it came from the right-hand side, it probably did go that route. The time to Discord evidence. He was caught on so many cams. Yeah, well, this is just his phone pinged again. I mean, isn't that just incredibly damning, you guys, that he's up here at 4:25-ish when he's leaving this area, and then just 13 minutes later, or 23 minutes later, his phone is 5 miles south of Moscow, pinging in the darkness. He probably thought, okay, this is a good time, I can turn it on, and he needed to turn it on because down in this area, to take this road path across is very difficult at night. I did it. There's no lights whatsoever, completely pitch black. I did this route. This part here doesn't look like their map, but the rest of it looks exactly like it. Yeah, they don't mean anything, right? That's right. Alan just repeats the stuff as humor value for the Proberger channels that he watches. Yeah, so these are all these different circles and stuff. Like I thought maybe right in this area is where the knife sheath was put. You know, maybe he drove down, took this little road, went in here, dumped it somewhere, then came back out. It's also pretty close to Johnson, Washington, inside of a cell tower radius. Here's the Ball Butte Tower, so that it's either this tower here or that one that pinged near Johnson. So I guess if you were like right up in here, he was on for 4 minutes. I think it was 5:32 to 5:36 in the evening of the 13th. Like he was back in the area again. Yeah, it's but anyways, you guys, I think that might be about it for me tonight. What are you guys doing? Might try to get some sleep tonight. Yeah, it's going to be sweet. So we'll definitely have to do the court hearing on the 9th. Yeah, I guess it's been 2 hours and 18 minutes, but man, I'm tired. I usually sleep 7 or 8. I get up kind of later. But Gray, what are we going to do? I don't know. Gray, do you think Ann Taylor is having a glasses of wine and wondering where to go from here? Probably. I want to see what the judge's rulings are on some of these things that have come out. Now, what needs is mapping? What are you referring to? Yeah. Anyways, thanks. I want to say thank you to everybody. So thank you to, let's see, we had K-Me, Von Dozen, 12 Gauge Investigative, then we have Melanie Tone, Alley Cake, Sherry C, Don Lawson, new member, Gulfstream 6, then 600 Double RR, then Ashley Yeager, Cheryl Moran with a cat eye, then Naomi Rollins, Courtney D, H Doc, 33 months, then Alley Cake, gifted a membership, then M10, Jim Lawn, Bell S, Julia, then DM, and been a member for 10 months, Cinnamon Sin Freak, Cecilia Holmstrom, M10, gifted 5 memberships, then Mew, and Cheryl Moran gifted 10, which is another cat eye. So thank you very much. Appreciate that. Then Mustang Sally, Resurrection Co., Jim Lawn, Ritzy1, Timothy Moore, Mustang Sally gifted a membership, K-Me, Jim Lawn, Sassy T, 4 Paws 007, Cheryl Moran gifted another 5. Then Kathy Jean, then I gifted 5, then Sarah Reesness, Sassy T, K-Me, M10, Jim Lawn, Georgina Stoliker, and Sizzy Q, and also it was Tumbleweed did a double cat eye. It doesn't show up on this control panel over here though. And then Sizzy Q became a new member. So we had 33 new members, gifted ones, and everything. And then also, hold on, we had at 4 Paws on the live stream for a coffee, then Lisa Valenzuela, Paulette Leonard, then Phyllis, and then what is it, Demdon, then Ted Bundy with 5 coffees, and then Mary T with a coffee. So thank you guys, really appreciate it for the support tonight. Trying to get back ahead for the month. First day of the month wasn't that great, but we're sort of caught up to some sort of normalcy now. Anyways, I appreciate everybody being here, and just kind of working through these cases, kind of, you know, trying to solidify the way you think about things. That's what I try to do. And I think it's just a good way to do it. You know, instead of just sort of these wild conspiracy, you know, sort of almost like stories, you know, that people make up. And, you know, you've seen the videos out there, right, that go through the surveillance footage and find other people moving around, and then they weave these whole stories about them, like these massive stories about these other people moving around with no evidence at all to support anything that they're saying, and people just want to believe it the whole time. Oh, look at, there's a guy walking right there at 3:52. He must be the why. And then Dylan Mortensen adds a contact to her phone at the same time. That must mean he's talking to Dylan. It doesn't mean anything. All right? Doesn't mean anything at all. So, anyways, thank you all very much for being here. Really appreciate it. Come back again. It's good having more people watching. And we'll see you guys tomorrow. All right? Tomorrow's going to be the probably the sped up version of Daybell. All right? The show might start a little bit later because I've got to edit it. I happen to be on the same, I think I'm on, what time frame is it in where Lori's being, are they on mountain time? Where that trial is in Idaho? Because some parts of Idaho, I think, they might be Pacific time. And that, I guess that would be good, because that means it would be over at 4, not 5. So that would give me an hour or so, 2 hours. Or I have to wait for it to fully upload, I guess. So that would be cool. Well, the only reason we're doing Lori's case, if it was just a regular trial, I wouldn't do it. All right? I'm doing it because she is representing herself, and I just can't wait when there's like this forensic information that's really damning, and she tries to explain it away with the weirdness that she has. It's crazy. All right, thanks everybody. We'll see you guys later, and as I always say, until next time, be safe out there. Yeah, I've been doing this true crime thing for quite a while now, and during this whole time I have not seen one person that is a crime dissector. By the way, that's Lori Daybell dancing up on the stage right there. That's her. I made that like 4 years ago. On a stretcher, if you try and play me like an old projector. Crime sector is my nectar. Professor Grader's gonna give another lecture. Crime collector, freak connector, and I'm always gonna be a pop protector. Fool deflector, interceptor, and I'm meaner than a spectre with a vector on his pector. With all respect, y'all, just remember I've a temper fucking check ya. I have no agenda, I'm no pretender, and I'll serve it to you straight without the blender. And in the end, I'm gonna send ya on a mission to reveal the true offender. Yeah, so I'll just get right back to work. All right, everybody? All right, anyway, see you guys. Be safe out there.